Okay. Here. Pod. This is going to be a very special episode of the pod here because we do want to talk about the Lakers. But we have a Laker mirror match, so the more Lakers, the better. We can start right there. We can start with Austin Reeves. You know, he came into this league as a farm boy. He's going to be going out a million. They don't make no tractors like this where he's from. He's been able to show himself multiple times as an asset to this team, regardless of what's going on around him. You have one LeBron James coming in, doing what he needs to do, game in, game out. He's taking some rest breaks. He's taking some rest breaks, but at the end of the day, Bron is going to be Bron. He's going to show up. He's going to give you offense. He's going to give you defense. He's going to give you ball movement. He's going to give you facilitation of plays. And here goes Mr. Reeves out at the wing. You may say, Shaba, I'm listening to the pod and you're talking about Austin Reeves, but what about the development of his game? You're right. You're absolutely right. You know, here on the pod, we don't stray from talking about the development of players, and it is something that happened. You know, Austin Reeves did go from a guy that was known for his shooting to now, if you watch him play the game, he will dribble. He will run under the basket. He will pump fake twice, put it up. It's almost as if he's got a little Bron in him, you know. And when you see those types of things develop on the court, when you start to see, you know, attributes of teammates shared, I think that means that practice is successful. I think that means that relationship building is successful because that's completely different from practice. And, you know, Austin Reeves is shaping up to be one of those guys that if he were to ever want to leave LA, you know, he's going to have a lot of offense. As you see there, he's got that same knack of facilitating great plays, just like LeBron James. Finishing at the basket is something that he more so does when he feels like maybe he just can't trust anyone else. You know, Austin Reeves sometimes has a look on his face as if this is going to be his last game ever. And when you see looks like that and he takes looks like that, you know, you have to respect it because at his stature, at his height, at his weight, he plays a lot harder than guys that have come before him that look like him. When we're talking about the stat sheets. Another player in question we have out tonight starting for the Lakers is a one Rui Hachimura. I don't want to get, you know, too into talking about Hachimura because I hate him, but I'm going to keep it brief. You know, he hasn't been playing the game the way that he needs to play the game, and if he continues this up, not only is the Lakers going to suffer at that position, but the pod may suffer because, well, we blasted this guy out of here. Stay tuned. We're going to continue this episode of the pod. We don't know why this guy chose the Lakers if he wasn't ready for this episode of the pod. We're going to keep going. Here we go. Had to resume the pod. Welcome back to the Big Shaba pod. I'm your host, Shaba. We're doing it here with the people. We're out here playing 2K. We're talking about basketball. Now, previously we tried to start this episode. Our opponent quit. I guess he just didn't love the game of basketball as much as I thought. But hopefully we have somebody here that loves the game of basketball and wants to hear about it. Now, we'll be getting into... that's our guy right there. We're getting into Hachimura. You know, that play right there, that's something that I wish I could say Hachimura did all the time. But I can't say that, you know. Hachimura is more of a player that he comes and goes in his best form. A lot like Anthony Davis, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to keep it on Hachi. You know, he's playing alongside Bron. He's got a good build on him. But what is he doing? You know, what is the presence? What is the asset of having a Hachi on your team? yes, you know, he's got good wingspan that you've seen there. He can get a good defensive stop, be able to put something into motion. But at the end of the day, here goes a Hachimura moment. Beautiful. You know, he really has to become this type of player consistent. You know, we all love when the guy's firing off on all cylinders. You can see that he's listening to Bron in practice. He's learning how to use his physique. He's learning how to push the key. He's learning how to distribute the basketball, you know. But there's just something missing. There's something missing. He's not performing like a D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell, you know, he's coming off consistent. He's continued to score. He's continued to make himself a force in this league. Wow. We're going to have to continue the podcast in another game. It's happening again here. Oh, man. Okay. Third time's the charm. We're here. We have the big Shaba pod. I'm your host, Shaba. Two opponents in a row have quit on us this morning as we try to run the pod. We don't know what's going on, but hopefully we get somebody that's willing to play basketball the way it was meant to be played. And that's with the understanding that someone's going to lose and someone's going to win. Now, on the pod, we were talking about number 28 here, Rui Hachimura. Defensively, you know, I'm not going to really complain much. I like what he's doing. But offensively, you know, this is where I'm starting to see some scales fall. You know, he's not the same that he was when he first came in. He doesn't seem to have the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed vibration going on. You know, Rui Hachimura is almost looking lethargic. He's almost looking like a shell of himself out there on the court. It doesn't really seem like his time in Los Angeles has been good to him. You know, mentally, I don't know what's going on. Bodily-wise, he's got a great physique. Like I said on the other episode of the pod, he's got a great build, but if he can't get up under LeBron like Austin Reeves did, like we're talking about there in the first segment, if he can't get up under LeBron and start to implement some of these things into his game, you know, LeBron's not going to be here forever. How long are you going to take that leadership for granted? How long are you going to take that ability to wake up every morning with Bron in your phone and you can ask a question, but you still suck? You know, yes, I'm going to be a little harsh here. This is my pod. Personally, I hate Rui Hachimura as a basketball player. As a man, you know, he's doing great things for his country, but as a player, he frustrates me to no end. I want him to succeed. When I see a build like his, when I see a build like Jaylen Brown on the Celtics, who are doing great, by the way, we're going to talk about that probably on the next episode of the pod. You know, I see that build and I see the potential, and I want to invest hope there. I want to invest excitement there, but it's not something that can come into fruition when you have Rui on the court, because you just don't know what Rui you're getting. My brother, big Laker fan, Robert in the Bay Area, moving segments here, he does talk about AD. See if we can get a screen from the brow here. Ball movement, spectacular. But, you know, AD is another one of those players that when we need him to show up most, he's missing, you know. Just lost the game the other night to OKC. To the Sacramento Kings, and then they had won a game the other night against OKC. So, you know, it's that right there. We go from beating the best team in the West to losing to a team that's not the best in the West, you know. How much are they actually expecting LeBron to do? You know, with a guy like Hachimura, you want him to step up. You want him to put up big minutes. You want him to allow Bron to work out on those energy reserves and get himself back to 100 so that this could be a Los Angeles team that it's supposed to be towards playoff contingency at the end of the season here. Now, Austin Reeves, he's had no shortage of showing up. He makes big shots all the time. But we've already had our segment. We've already given him flowers. We may have to double back. But, you know, it's no surprise to me when the Lakers are in a bad spot and Bron is on the bench. It's Austin that steps up and does what he needs to do. You know, Hachi, I just shake my head. I don't even want to talk about him anymore. Now, another player that we need to put on our focus here is Hayes. Getting the and-1 there, you can expect that. You know, Hayes is a guy, we're not going to spend too much time on him, but if you just let him develop, if you just let him get a little bit more wet behind the ears than he already is, I think that it's going to show you that this Lakers team can be deep when they want to. I didn't say all the time. Rui here showing exactly why, he's not who he's supposed to be ever. Hardly ever. Showing exactly why, I said what I said in my segment. He had a possession there. He fumbled it. Then, continued to fumble it. He dropped the possession twice, and he's one man. If that doesn't prove my point about Rui and just, the deterioration of his game, night in and night out, nothing does. Now, back to Hayes here. Young guy, very dynamic, a lot of power. You could see him stepping up some nights for the Laker camp. A lot of times, often, Bron is deferring, looking to see who he can trust, looking to see who he can really develop a relationship with on and off the court, but more so in the mind. Listeners out there already know basketball is a very mental game. There's nothing like playing a game of basketball where you and your teammates are all locked in and you know exactly what you guys are looking for from one another, where to be. You're hitting your spots, you're hitting your shots, you're closing out, you're boxing out, you're shifting on screens, you're going under, you're going over. That's a part of the game that it gets lost today because everybody wants a performative show where it's fundamental basketball. We're getting ready to end out the first quarter here, and with that, it's probably going to be what we would call the first seg, the official first seg of the pod here. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure Twitch viewers in the chat, got a few viewers in the chat there. Check it out. We're doing this. Have another segment of the pod coming back towards the fourth quarter where we will talk about King James here in this Miami Showdown. Stay tuned. It's the pod. Now, we do have Bron here already setting it up. Kevin Love, that's a guy that Bron would call a buddy, I believe. But you know what? We're back here. The pod is live. We're live on Twitch. We'll be on YouTube later on today. Take a time if you haven't already. Subscribe to the pod, man. We're doing real basketball stuff here. We're coming out into the community with people that are playing 2K. There's people out there, they play 2K because their time is gone. There's old heads playing 2K. There's young guys. They got practice in a few hours. They got to play that 2K before practice, So this is what the pod is for. We're recognizing no matter what your relationship is with the game of basketball, the pod is a place for you to show up. This is the Big Shaba pod, and we care a lot more about the people sometimes than we even do the pod. Just making sure that we come out here. We play cross-platform. We're playing on anything that we can get more viewers and more listeners of the pod on. And we're going to go ahead and get into some breaking down of the game here. Now, earlier we were talking about inconsistency with this ball club. Wow. After he bricked that shot, it doesn't seem like he's going to be sticking with this. We'll continue our segment and talk about AD in the next game. Okay, here we go. So sorry for the inconvenience today, folks, with the pod. It just seems like a lot of people out here don't appreciate what we do for the game of basketball, nor do they even appreciate the game of basketball. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to keep this going on the road. We were talking about AD here. Just his inability to show up, similar to Hachi, consistently when he needs to. Ball movement going crazy, dunking on Paul George. We love to see that, but like I said, that's neither here nor there. Anthony Davis, he's spending so much time putting Vaseline in his unibrow that he forgets to show up to practice. He forgets to box out. He forgets to be in the paint. Anthony Davis isn't a player that I would recommend if you're a young guy you even watch, because you're not going to learn how to play the game correctly. You're not going to learn how to play the game consistently. Proving my point there, what was the purpose of that dunk not going in? How does that happen? Well, I'll tell you. If you have a guy like Anthony Davis on your team, anything in the realm of sabotage basketball can take place. Now, as you can see here, he's not producing time and time again down the court. We have a great ball club here in the Clippers, playing defense where it matters most. But let's be honest, AD should have made that shit. AD's been having this problem. My co-correspondent actually hit me yesterday, Bishop, on the ones and twos, and let me know that at this point, Anthony Davis is the problem for the Lakers. It's him. It's not so much about his good games. It's about the continuous bad games. It's about the inability to see his problems. You've been in this league for too long, Mr. Davis. You've been here. We've seen you since you had a smaller unibrow in New Orleans. And for whatever reason now, you're still in a place where you feel as though your unibrow is more important than your game. Anthony Davis has become one of those players that I think at the end of the day may be here for a check. He may be here for a check. There's nothing wrong with having off days, but when your brand, if somebody can say that, oh yeah, I know Anthony Davis, he's the nigga that can play ball one night and the next night we don't know who he is. When that's your brand, when identity crisis is your brand, it's deeper than basketball. I don't know if we need to get AD some psychological help. I don't know if there's something going on with the wife, but we're getting closer and closer to the last chance that the Lakers have to even be in the playoffs. If he keeps playing like this, I'm certain they won't make it. When we talk about the inconsistency that he's producing on the floor, I would be remiss if I don't talk about what took place just the other night. They're going up against OKC, best team in the West. They pull out a W there. I'm not going to say what his involvement was because I don't believe it was great. I don't believe that when the Lakers are doing good and they're having good games that it's AD's fault. Now, if we just beat the best team in the West in the OKC Thunder, why now do you go up against the Sacramento Kings and shit the bed? That's a simple basketball conundrum that I want to have solved. If we beat the best in the West, why then does a team who's not the best in the West come in and then with AD on the court fully healthy, De'Aaron Fox gets away with scoring over 40 points on the Lakers? That's incredible. That's incredible, and it's disgusting because this is a point of the season where you're supposed to show your colors. You're supposed to drop a 40-point game. You're supposed to prove to the league, to the fans, to your family, hell, if you care about them, that you deserve to be here and that you want the biggest, the baddest, the most shiny, the gold at the end of the season. But for whatever reason, Anthony Davis is okay with just having a cheeseburger from McDonald's. He doesn't really need an NBA trophy. He doesn't need an inaugural speech after he's won. He doesn't care about these things. As long as he can get that Brazilian wax appointment for his brow, basketball can wait. Me personally, I think that we're not going to talk about the coaching in this segment of the pod, but I think that the coaching of veterans such as Spoelstra, such as Popovich, such as Stout, I think that a veteran coaching backbone would help AD right now because it doesn't seem like he cares about playing basketball. And when you start to see that level of lethargy in the mind, and this is a great game, and you're supposed to be on that court every night giving your best, and you have a guy that shows up one night he give you 30, one night he give you 60, one night he give you 20, one night he give you a close-up of his brow, you look like that. You look like the coach. You look like Ham out there, and you wonder what went wrong. You wonder what went wrong when you started to believe in Anthony Davis. You wonder what went wrong when Bron started to essentially pass the keys of his franchise to his teammates in trust and letting them know that it wasn't going to be just his team. But unfortunately, some of these players have said, Bron, fuck that. It is your team. And you see that night in and night out. And just the other night, while going up against the Kings, we did manage to see that, yes, LeBron is starting to suffer some injuries, some wear and tear from all of the years of carrying grown men in the league. Yes, everybody would rather sit back and watch him, just like Tyronn Lue there, than to actually do their part. So, ankle deterioration isn't an uncommon injury in this league. It is something that takes place specifically when you have individuals that aren't doing their part. But like I said, when we run the pod, this is what happens. This is getting ridiculous. This may be a theme, but stay tuned. This is the Big Shaba podcast where we love the game more than they do.
I was in them doors, when I'm back. If you need to come around that house, he gon' mouse, so we lay the trap.